Good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here, and thank you, Shurawl, for joining us as well. Really excited to speak with you today. Stephen kind of hit the nail on the head. We are living through some interesting times where the employee-employer relationship is really under pressure, like never before. And whether it's economic uncertainty, or the rapid rate at which we are seeing these technological changes, the workforce is really just facing a lot of complex emotions right now. Like I said, uncertainty, skepticism, but at the center of it all is this critical, very fragile component, which is trust. And we are seeing trust on the decline. There was a report, the 2025 Edelman Trust Barometer actually stated there's been an unprecedented global decline for the employer trust. Yet we know it's critical. It's critical to our workforce, and I think MetLife's 23rd annual US Employee Benefit Trend Study actually showed that higher trust correlates directly with improved talent outcomes and engagement. So you're going to tell us how to get your employees to trust today, which is great. She's going to help us fix this problem. I guess I want to start there. Like, what should leaders do to create trust with their teams right now?
Yeah, thank you for having me here, and it's great to have this conversation today. You know, trust being really important. We did a study, as you mentioned, and it's important to understand what it is people are facing and some of the why before you think about how you're going to solve for it. And what we found is that, we do this study, we interviewed thousands of HR decision makers, thousands of employees at various places, and what we understand is that the expectation that employees have of employers is that you're creating a trusting environment. 81% of people believe that I'm counting on you to create a trusted environment. And why does it matter to them? If employees feel that you care for them and that they can trust you, trust your organization, they're 3.8 times more likely to have holistic, healthy outcomes, 2.8% more likely, 2 times more likely to feel that they can be productive. So it's really, really important. And, one of the things we learned, especially over the last few years, is you have to have open, transparent, honest communication, two-way dialogue. Create an opportunity for people to share perspective with you, and you have to listen. It's so important to listen. And when you ask for feedback from people, you actually have to do something with it. You have to take action. The other thing is people want to truly feel recognized and rewarded for when you ask them to step up and deliver, that you're actually demonstrating that you value them by recognizing them, by rewarding them, providing things that they can count on. Cadie, if you think about your personal relationships, when you think about people you trust, what comes to mind? You can count on them. You trust them because they're consistent. You trust them because you know what to expect. You know they'll show up for you. That's our responsibility as employers. Show up for people. Be consistent. Be open with them. Create that space. Like, it's about the fundamentals, but you only get there not because you say you want to be trusted. You have to do it consistently over time.
Yeah, and trust has to be earned.
Definitely.
Right? Can you give us an example of a way that MetLife is earning that trust?
Yeah. So, well, for sure, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the importance of benefits to our people. And why, and it sounds like fundamental, but let me tell you, benefits is really powerful because you show up for people in times of their greatest need. People, you don't take healthcare for granted, and having a company that has excellent benefits to truly give people what they need, give them choice in what they can choose to take care of themselves, to take care of their families, is a great way to build trust. You don't want to have to choose between your health and well-being and being able to earn a living. You want an employer to back you in those times. Another thing that we do is just open communication and dialogue. Like, maybe 5 years ago, I think we used to have, global employee town halls. And now we've pivoted to Let's Talk Live. And this is our CEO with everybody around the whole company invited to talk live. People interact digitally, but people ask questions. It's not rehearsed in terms of the questions they ask. We don't know all the people are gonna say, but we listen and we get their feedback. Those channels to just talk openly, it makes a difference. And you can't dodge the hard topics. Mm-hmm. If you're gonna say, let's talk live, it means you are open to what it is that's on people's minds. They can ask questions. You can tell them the answers that you have, and you can also be honest if you haven't thought about it yet. And not be afraid to say, you know what, I don't know, that's a good idea, or let's track that down. So I think there's lots of forums for open two-way dialogue, and I feel like it just makes a difference in the culture.
Absolutely. I think that creates something that is key to trust, which is being vulnerable.
Totally.
Right?
Totally.
One thing that we're hearing a lot about, and in a newsroom, it's a topic of conversation, is AI. And we hear executives, CEOs, a lot of folks in the C-suite talking about how that's going to impact the workforce. And it's very much on people's minds, employees' minds. There's a lot of skepticism around it, and the data varies, but I was looking at a KPMG study or survey recently that said some 54% of people are wary of trusting AI. And another survey found that 52% of US workers are worried about the impact of it in the workplace. I don't know how we overcome that. So that's a big part of the equation here right now. I would love to learn from you, how should companies be addressing this? How should they be communicating about it with their employees, especially at a time where they see the benefits of it being embraced too?
Yeah. So look, I think it starts with your company strategy and people understanding what you are playing for, what it is that your company intends to do. Everybody needs to understand what your company is about, and AI is a part of the strategy. It's not like AI in isolation. It's in service of what are you doing for your customers. It should be in service of what you need to do for your employees and how they're getting their work done. So I think, for one, start with just your overall strategy, ensuring that people know. One of the things I think with AI is we always have to begin with education, because people are at all ends of the spectrum. We were talking earlier, some people, I leveraged AI to prepare for today. You leveraged AI to prepare for today. Some people are using it in their daily lives, but some people are not. And I think to overcome some of that fear, begin with fundamental basic education. One of the things we have available at our company, thousands of learning resources, we looked at the top 5 voluntary learning programs, training programs that we have. The top 5 are all related to AI. What does AI mean for my company? How do you use AI responsibly? What is the glossary of terms to understand AI? So people are telling us, not because they have to, they want to invest in just seeking understanding. So I'd say start with basic understanding. Then you need to build skill. Enable people to explore, experiment, test, try things, be a part of solutions. And then you got to apply. Show them, tell stories about how it's helping your customers. Tell stories about, and have your employees tell the stories about what they're learning, where it went well, and actually be honest about where it didn't go well. Mm-hmm. So I think those elements about understand your strategy, build awareness, build skill, apply it, but it has to be right for your company. Because I think you get caught up in the cool things people are doing in lots of places. It might be cool, but maybe you shouldn't be doing it. So I'd say think about some of that. That's part of what we've done at MetLife. That's made a difference. We have thousands of people engaged, still more to go, but they're telling us by their actions that they want to learn.
Yes, you touched on this a little bit, the application of it. It seems like for people to be less scared of it, it needs to be a human-centric application. So what are you guys doing to ensure that is your approach?
Yeah, so look, AI, when I hear some companies say, AI is going to replace your job entirely, we don't need people. That's not true. I don't believe that. I don't think AI doesn't exist in isolation and by itself, right? I think it's along with humans that we can make the most impact. And, when we think about AI and the opportunity to apply it and to test and to learn, we actually ask our employees for use cases. So it's not like out of the blue, because the people who are closest to the work understand where there's opportunity. So part of our testing is engaging employees to submit use cases all across the company, and then we can choose areas of opportunity for them to focus on, for them to work in, for them to be able to experiment, to deliver. And to share those stories, again, about what it is they're learning. It makes such a difference. So then we focus our effort with the people who have the most knowledge to be able to deliver. So I think you have to carve out a space, a sandbox, if you will, for people to play a little bit. I think that goes a long way. And things like common tools to just do their everyday tasks, things like Microsoft Copilot or internal solutions that your company might build. I'm sure you're probably working with companies who are partners, who have things that they're testing. So you have lots of opportunity, either what you create with partners that you work with or ideas your employees have to test and play. And I think that'll build confidence and actually make it a bit less scary for those who are, maybe a little bit afraid about what you don't know. But I'd be remiss to not mention one thing that I think is super important: making sure you have a cross-functional team who's focused on responsible use of AI. We have people from our legal department, compliance, risk, audit, technology, because HR, because it's important to use it responsibly so that you don't, trip a wire or get in trouble in a way that you don't intend. It's super important to just have a policy on AI as well.
That's interesting, and definitely top of mind for leaders within organizations trying to embrace the technology. One thing you touched on was education. And it seems like everyone's being told, use AI, but they don't know where to begin. And so I'm curious to hear from you, how do you get people to have faith in themselves to tackle this technology? What skills do they need to basically create the trust with the technology to be able to use it?
Yeah. So look, one, I think we've got to reinforce the importance of growing and remind people they've done it before and they've done it many times in other spaces. We focus so much on AI and it being new, but I do think we have to focus on growth being important. Your company wouldn't exist today if it wasn't constantly growing and evolving, which means your people have been growing and evolving. So reminding them of the muscle that they've built with growing, that's really important. So we talk about literally growing at MetLife. We have lots of programs around education so people can learn, but we also have coaching so people can get feedback from others. AI can help you find skills and programs in our company. So there's lots of ways to lead with curiosity and focus on curiosity and critical thinking. Yes, technical skills on AI as well, but I think focusing on growth is really important and reminding people they flex those growing muscles before. I don't think we talk enough about that. And they've done it tons and tons of times. So they can do it again. AI is not the thing that's so unique that they can't learn. They can learn. Of course they can. Introduce them. Make it available. Democratize it. That's, I think, among the strategies we should use to help our companies.
Yes, and when it comes to growth, we know that one way to build trust with our employees and to build engagement with them is by helping them feel like they're in a place where they can grow professionally. But climbing the corporate ladder isn't what it used to be. The landscape looks a lot different, and we are seeing just the general shape of organizations change. We've seen the culling of middle managers across different industries recently. So I guess how do you help them grow when the nature of work itself is evolving very quickly?
I think for sure part of growth is, and I do this with my team, and we encourage all leaders to do this, you gotta start with understanding people's aspiration and ambition. Because the worst thing you want is to grow in an area that does not interest you, you know? So I think making sure you have those candid career conversations about, I always ask people, what fuels you? What gets you excited? Where do you wanna be now? Where do you wanna be in the long term? What do you think your strengths are? What do you think you need to develop? And then let's have a conversation about what could best help you. It's very foundational, very fundamental, but growth starts with, I think, marrying the person's aspiration and ambition with where the company has a need and it's also growing. And when those two can blend, like it begins with that conversation. And also being accountable as a leader. My responsibility as a leader is to help my people. So I always ask, what can I do to support you? People will tell you, but it amazes me how many times people are actually not asked. Or no one's asked me that before. What do I actually want to do? Or you know what? I don't know what I want to do. Help me to talk through and think about it, which is okay too. So a lot of that growth is about that career conversation and actually having a game plan for development. If you don't have a plan about what you plan to do in terms of your growth and development, it may not happen. So, I mean, I know some of what I'm saying sounds fundamental, but leading through a time of uncertainty actually requires great leadership. And these are foundational things that we should do. We should be talking to our people, having career conversations, having development plans, helping people to understand what resources can help them in your company or outside your company if it can help them too.
And resources is a big part of it too. Having those conversations, laying the groundwork with a plan, but then giving them the tools for that growth. Can you talk a little bit about can you give us an example of a tool that MetLife is utilizing to help employees feel like they can grow within the company?
Yeah, one of the things actually that we have is something called My Path, which actually, ironically enough, is powered by AI. But it may say like, you go into the system and you're able to articulate what your skills are. You're also able to articulate where you want to grow. And we match you with opportunities. You could say, you know what, I want to learn something about, this product in another country. You could say, I want to build my project management skills. Or you know what, I want to pursue something in HR. Let me find an HR project or a finance project. So we have opportunities for our employees to volunteer, to articulate where they want to grow, help them assess their skills, and it matches them to project opportunities. And that's like one example that we have, other companies do too, but I feel like a way to give people agency and empowerment in what they want to learn and how they can grow. It's a tangible way to get maybe a short-term project. Maybe some of them are a little longer term, maybe just a few hours, but it's some way for you to take ownership of building your career and building your skills. People feel, they tend to have they become ambassadors because they realize, wow, I can do something new and also contribute to the company.
Yeah. We're almost at time, so I did want to ask you this. You were a boomerang employee. You left MetLife, you spent a few years away at Amex, and then you came back. How has trust at the company changed since you left and come back?
It's funny to go away and come back and just have fresh perspective. I'd say when I rejoined the company, the thing that I felt the most is a great sense of inclusion. Culture truly matters. And I think when you feel like you're in it with other people towards a common goal, I truly feel that way. People are about helping each other and, getting a job done as a team, feeling respected in the workplace, feeling like I can share my ideas or ask a question. It really matters. I feel like the culture felt stronger to me and incredibly inclusive. And something that's unique about our company is also around the surge in people connecting through community. We probably have one of the most robust volunteer programs in the company where people, they help their community, but they also convene with people that they work with towards things that they're passionate about. Whether it's a green team supporting the environment, or it's a wellness team supporting being well at work. If you have common purpose and common interests, you feel there's a vibrancy in a community that I found, I feel really proud to work at this organization. And that sentiment of just feeling included and that you can show up with common purpose with other people, like it makes a difference for me.
Absolutely.
So that I feel really passionately about, and I feel really excited about the energy in our organization.
Great. Well, Shurawl, thank you so much for taking the time. I have one last question.
Sure.
If you had to give one piece of advice to everyone here for like the top thing they should be doing to create trust at their company, what would it be?
Oh, I would say the top thing you should be doing to create trust at your company, I'd say you gotta listen. You have to listen, because if you listen to what's on the minds of your people and you actually take action to do something about it, it's an opportunity to create trust. A, they're gonna give you more feedback. They're gonna keep coming, because if they feel like you're gonna take action, they're gonna keep sharing. But they will actually help you to focus on what really matters and what will make a difference. So I'd say listen and take action.
Great. Thank you so much, Shurawl. Appreciate it.
Pleasure.